welcome to my home. I am coming to you today on what should hopefully be my last day of COVID isolation, according to Alberta Health. I am feeling great. Thanks so much for all your prayers and the texts of concern. Certainly missed you on Sunday. Thanks so much for all of your patience with me having to preach to a video once again. I suppose for those who are watching online, it wasn't much of a difference, but I was watching online with you. So today I come to you for this week's encouraging video, again from my home. And I thought today what I would do is just read you something from Eugene Peterson. It's from a collection of works. They're actually short little entries from his 25 years as pastor to a church, a small church in Maryland. And it's the pastor writing to the congregation. And it's something, this particular entry I thought was something that felt meaningful to me, and I thought I would read it today, and maybe it will be something meaningful to you. He titles it, "We Are Not Stuck." And he writes, "Distracted, inconstant people like us need a large attention-getting device for noticing the main show, seeing the huge God dimensions of our lives, and listening to the large God story into which all our stories fit. There is much about those stories that we, of course, cannot change. We cannot change our heights or our ages. We cannot change our basic intelligences. We cannot change our places of birth or our parentages. We can, at best, make modifications on only our bodily shapes and emotional temperaments. There is a great deal of sheer givenness in our lives, circumstances and conditions that we must deal with as it is. Frequently, we project fantasies of what we want onto the church and then walk away grumpy because we don't find what we expect. Other times, we become paralyzed with guilt because we feel the church isn't living up to its calling, but all our guilt does is drain more energy out of us. What we simply must do is attend to what is going on. This Holy Spirit work that is continuous between the Acts of the Apostles and the Acts of the Christians of our community here in our place, now in our time. But still, we are not stuck with these lives of ours the way they are. We can change, can be changed. That is the promise of God in Jesus Christ and the experience that is at the heart of Christian living. Conversion. What is meant by this is simple. At the center, at the core of our being, change is possible. A change from being lost to found. A change from being self-centered to God-centered. A change from anxiously grasping to confidently receiving the life of faith in Jesus Christ. These changes are going on all around us. Sometimes they are taking place in us. An American view, and I would say a Canadian view as well, of conversion sees it as characteristically sudden and dramatic. And if it isn't sudden and dramatic, then it doesn't qualify. But most conversions are long and quiet. We miss the drama of these stories because we are not sufficiently trained biblically to discern the Spirit work. You don't have to stay the way you are. Now, I read this today because I am going to be going on a study retreat this week. I feel well enough and I have satisfied the COVID requirements for Alberta Health. And so I will be going on retreat with 4 other pastors, one of which was my mentor pastor, who was my pastor for about 17 years, and was the person who walked me through a period of time in my life where I certainly felt stuck. And he was the one who really walked me on my journey toward Jesus. And I can say with absolute confidence that we can change and that we're always changing. And while I don't think for a second I'm a completed project, Jesus still has much to do in my life. I read this and thought about my friend and my pastor, and I just was struck by how much has changed in my life over the last say, 20 years. And I am hopeful. We are still in a season of COVID. There are many in our church right now that have COVID, and there's still a lot of uncertainty in our world, in the area of peace, in the area of the pandemic, personal finances, our economy, inflation. And so I think that in this anxious time, there is really an opportunity for us to be attentive to what the Holy Spirit is doing around us and in us. And that great hope that we are not stuck. We're not stuck as a church. We're not stuck as individuals. And I think for me this week, as I go and I meet with these incredible men who have been such great influences in my life, I'm thinking and I will be praying and preparing for the next season of work as we move into this next stage in our own church life. And I am grateful, and I still consider it a privilege to be your pastor. And I'm taking with me this week your thoughts and prayers, and you will be in my thoughts and prayers as I study and reflect on our ministry these past 2 years and think about what God has for us in the next 2. Thank you for listening. I do pray this was encouraging. I am available if you need me by text. This isn't a vacation, so do feel free to text me if you do need to talk. I may not be able to answer right away. However, I will be checking my texts 2 or 3 times a day. So thanks for watching once again. May God bless you and your family, and I will see you on Sunday.